Well, hello there, and welcome to the Games Talk Live podcast. I'm, of course, your host, Jay Fonz, and with me is not Hargeet Chani this week. Actually, it's Mr. Colt Eastwood of the Washington Eastwoods. Welcome.
Of the Washington East Forest Lands.
Yeah, how are you, Fonz, man?
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing awesome. I couldn't be better. Actually, I could, but you know what? I'm just going to lie just for the camera. It's great. It's awesome. No, everything's good. I've been doing a lot of gaming lately, playing a lot of, I put in work, let's say, recently in a little game called Last Epoch. I've been playing this game and I can't tell you, I can tell you how many hours I put in. I've already put in over 27 hours and I've only had it like 3 days.
You're all epoch'd up.
I'm all epoch'd up. That's right. It's a great game. If you guys are into ARPGs, it's basically like Diablo or any of those other ARPGs, Path of Exile and that sort of thing. It's like Path of Exile and Diablo. There's little bits of each in the game. I won't say it's combined, but it's a great game. It's really good. Solid. What have you been playing?
Assassin's Creed Mirage. I'm in such an Assassin's Creed mood that I'm working on an Assassin's Creed video to put out probably tomorrow.
Really?
So I'm on the last assassination for Mirage, and it's been touch and go with the game. I'm still glad I'm playing it, but it's not my favorite. But it's all right. I'm glad I'm playing it. I guess that's all it is. I mean, this is how I am, Fonz. I mean, I don't know. It's a game. I'm supposed to have fun.
It's a game.
But I'm glad I picked it back up.
Yeah.
I gave up on it for like a month. But yeah, I've been playing it and getting into the whole vibe and just
That's
realizing
good.
that most Assassin's Creed games I really enjoying. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about the series and see them kind of make their big power moves. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah. No, I'm ready for that. I want to see more of that Japan open world game they got going on, because it's the same studio of, that you were telling me for Odyssey, right? Same studio.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of hard to put together a video about an Assassin's Creed game when the only footage we have is a 15-second animation of a character landing on a rooftop, right? So I've really been putting together a lot of great visual aids. So I'm pretty excited about the video. I'll kind of finish editing it this afternoon, throw the music in there, and maybe throw in some Assassin's Creed 2 music. If you're a Jesper Kidd fan, that's some good stuff, man. I mean, I'm sure we all have at least one Assassin's Creed game we like, but yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Gotcha. Well, it's Assassin's Creed, it's, I guess, the one you're playing, it goes back to the older Assassin's Creed. It's like those instead of the newer RPG-ish type, the big open worlds that we love. We love exploring and stuff in our games. So unfortunately, it's not like that. And I lost my chat. Oh no!
Oh, you did? I can see it, so I'm good.
I'm good. No, that's not good.
Yeah, Niall says Assassin's Creed rinse and repeat. They always mix it up a little bit, but
I got my chat.
Basically, get the same game.
It's a win. Right. I got it back. Anyways, I want to shout out everybody in the chat today. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're just easing on into this show a bit. RDX Son of Fett, thank you for the. I think that's a Canadian 279. The 279, I like that. He says, Aaron Bushnell is a hero. Rest in peace. I'm not sure I've heard that name. Do you know anything about Aaron Bushnell?
Hang on, I'm looking.
If anybody can tell me,
because it sounds familiar.
But rest in peace to whoever has passed, I guess.
Okay. Wow. I guess that happened last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was a service member of the Air Force.
Oh, well, yeah. Thank you for your service, Aaron. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. My son was in the Air Force, and so it was a lot of my family. My dad, my grandfather, my older brother, all airmen. So, yeah, definitely a hero. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yosemite Bland with the $5 says, did y'all see how Paris was getting ridiculed for saying Final Fantasy VII should be on Xbox? The comments in the XCast video are wild.
Let's talk about that.
Wild times. Stay hypocritical. Yeah, let's talk about what I didn't know that. I haven't heard anything that Paris was saying about it, but I guess he's asking for the game to be on Xbox. Well, Final Fantasy VII Remake should have been on Xbox years ago. I mean, that game has already been out, 3 years at least?
I mean, it will be. I don't really think that. I haven't listened to Paris's talk on this, but he's probably not really asking for it to be on Xbox. Mm-hmm. He's saying that it should be and will be, and it will be. And Phil eventually met with the new leader at Square Enix to talk about why those games aren't on the console. So as soon as that exclusivity agreement dies with PlayStation, those games go to PC and Xbox. And maybe they wouldn't make it to Xbox if Phil didn't, shake hands and make that concerted effort to get those games on there. But almost every Final Fantasy game, or just as many that are on PlayStation, are on Xbox right now. So yeah, you're at the mercy of PlayStation money having one major game in that whole entire franchise, which is super weird. And Paris saying they should be means Paris saying they will be. Just you have to wait, which is really dumb.
Facts. And you know what? Since we're on that topic of Final Fantasy VII, we can go ahead and talk a little bit about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Now, neither I or you have played the game as of yet. I myself will be playing this game eventually. However, I am waiting probably for the PC port, honestly. Because what I'm seeing now, what Digital Foundry has brought out and others are talking about, is the game is not in great shape as far as performance mode goes. I don't know if you've seen any of that, Colt.
You mean people are playing it in 30 frames, Fonz?
Yikes. They're playing it in 30 frames. How dare they? I know. Yeah.
Ooh, brother. Ooh.
So I'm not going to sugarcoat it. For myself, for my tastes anyway, I can't stand the 30 frames games. I mean, if I'm forced to play a game that's 30 frames, so be it or whatever, but I'm not forced anymore. Like, I've got a PC that's capable. I can play these games 60 frames or even higher. And just for me, I took a look at that Digital Foundry video. It's not only the frame rate that takes a dip hard at times, it's the look of the game. It's very soft, very blurry in that performance mode, and it's causing a lot of people to play it in the 30 frames mode, which I heard isn't even perfect either. So I was hearing that from Ace.
Oh, even the 30 frames mode has dips?
Yeah.
I haven't watched Digital Foundry's video. I'm not interested in Final Fantasy VII. So I didn't watch that, but I heard, and I can't say because I didn't hear it for myself, that the performance mode drops way below 60 at times.
Yeah.
And they're also saying it's so blurry. I tried the Final Fantasy 16 demo, Fonz, and it looked really, really super chunky in performance. And I'm like, well, maybe this is one of those where I'll play it at 30 because it'll look nicer. And it did look nice. But once I started moving the camera, I'm like, I can't do it. And with Final Fantasy, with Square Enix's engine, they make really great looking games. But right now on these consoles, you get either the compromise of really low frame rate, which looks and feels icky, or you get this ugly performance mode at 60 that dips, that just looks really, really messy in action with all the stuff on screen, and you can't keep up. So it just bothers me that we're halfway through the generation and the consoles aren't coming into their own. They're actually being taxed to their limit.
Yeah, that's part of the problem that I have with it. I mean, I don't want to say that anyone lied about these consoles, but going into this generation, I remember hearing some words from even, Aaron Greenberg saying that 60 was going to be the standard going forward. And we were at the time seeing a lot of games that were cross-generational hitting that 60 frame target in these performance modes. and they did it beautifully. It was working great. And then these developers decided to say, hey, tech is moving forward. We've got a lot of great technology to use, and these engines are getting more robust. We're going to start using this stuff. And by the way, consoles, there's not going to be any performance modes. And if there is, you're lucky to get 40 frames, in a VRR mode. And that's the road I seen a lot of them going down, was this whole VRR 40 frames mode. And I'm sorry, that doesn't cut it. It doesn't, 40 frames really doesn't feel all that great to me. Doesn't. I mean, any way you slice it.
No.
So I don't know. I just think when I look at these consoles, you're looking at tech that started in 2018, 2019, when they started building these things. A lot can move within 3-4 years. So that's basically the gist of what's happened. They've kind of been
Final Fantasy Rebirth probably isn't a full next generation title. It's been in the works during the cross gen, but we're just now starting to get those games that were made knowing what the consoles and the new GPUs would be in the 2020s. And so I really think that once we got into the last part of 2023 is when we finally really got out of cross generation. Yeah. And Starfield was one of those games where it's like, where Todd's like, well, he didn't say this, but I know Todd's like, we could have ran it at 60, but it wouldn't have been a locked 60. It wouldn't have even held. And when Digital Foundry did the PC equivalent of a PS5 and ran Starfield through it, they're like, it ran at 60 a lot of times, but once you got outside or you got into heavy combat in space, it would drop down to 30, 40 frames. And even Digital Foundry wouldn't want that.
When I'm talking about this stuff, it's not just about Final Fantasy VII, right? It's because this Rebirth is Unreal Engine 4. This is completely different. But when you're looking at other games that are using like Unreal Engine 5, they're not giving you performance modes. And that we've had plenty of instances where that's happening now. You get either a really bad performance mode or none at all. And I mean, that's just why I've pretty much just kind of stayed on PC the past few months since I've gotten it, because I just don't want to deal with those low frame rates. I can't, man. It's just not when I can, get above that. There's other things with this Rebirth, by the way. There's some controversy surrounding this Rebirth. I don't know if you've heard this, Colt, but one of the characters within the game, Tifa, happens to be, in the game, there's a portion where there's kind of like a sequence where it goes back in time and it shows her at 15 years old and she was in a bikini and she was kind of overexposed a bit. And they covered her up a bit because, again, she's 15. So a lot of these people out there are kind of exposing themselves that are getting upset at this because in game, she's 15 years old. That is insane to get upset over when you're talking censorship and stuff. This is an instance where I'm not going down that road. I look, cover her up as far as I'm concerned. I have daughters myself. And I think it's gross that people are upset about this. Did you hear about this?
You mean they're upset that it got censored?
That they covered her up more.
I mean, I don't even know how to
in the game.
I don't even know how to handle that. That's been going on for a long time. I mean, there's people that got upset that some little cartoon game where you squirt girls with a squirt gun and you're in high school got censored and they're all upset. I don't even know what people want anymore. I honestly don't care. There's been the whole controversy over Sweet Baby and everything. Like, just
Baby.
It's just like it takes us on this road where if you guys want to talk about that, I mean, go ahead. But
it's this
just serve the games and serve the fans.
But here's the thing:
serve the story first.
Oh, of course. But you don't want to overexpose a teenager within a game.
No.
You know what I'm saying? That is my whole point here. And people are just exposing themselves on that note.
It's just it's a different culture though, Fonz. It's a totally different culture where, I don't know. I don't know.
I want to shout out Lotus Esprit. Thank you very much for the $50 super chat. Thank you very much. He says, "Hey everyone." I appreciate that, man. That's pretty big of you. I haven't seen him in the chat before, but welcome. Everybody is welcome here. Pretty chill, laid back
Is that their
podcast.
first time here?
Yeah, I think so. I don't
Awesome.
know if I've noticed Lotus here before, but thank you, Lotus. I appreciate that a lot. So some people had this issue. I'm sure the chat seen some of this, and it's just dumb. But as for Sweet Baby Inc., there's been lots of talk about that, Colt, and that situation's pretty crazy. So apparently there's a guy out there who curated all the games that Sweet Baby Inc. has been a part of, because it's all public information. Yeah. It's all public information. He's curated that, put it up on Steam for people to see. Hey, this is the games they've been involved with. And unfortunately, looking through that list for Sweet Baby, they've been involved with a lot of games that just didn't hit. Just didn't do very well. Or
now, were they involved in Starfield? Because they don't have Starfield on their website. But does the Steam curator user?
I didn't look at it. I didn't see if that was on there. I've only seen a portion of the games, and they had like Spider-Man 2. They had they didn't do the first Spider-Man, which is kind of interesting, right? I wanted to bring this up. So one thing that a lot of us noticed when we were playing Spider-Man 2 is that there was a lot going on with Peter that just didn't vibe right. It was kind of like a totally different Peter from the first game. Peter was, on point pretty much in the first game. The second game, he always needed help. Mary Jane always came in to save him. Or Miles Morales. Mary Jane even talked down to him. And it just changed. There was a lot of changes there. And a lot of people out there is like saying, well, Sweet Baby didn't come in and write this stuff. They had a writer for that game. Yes. But Sweet Baby comes in and talks to these writers and stuff and makes sure that some of this stuff is included in these games. That is their whole mission. Their point is inclusion, people. And that's all I have to say. You get it, right? Inclusion.
Yeah,
they need
and to help other people. Sweet Baby also acts as a consultant for quality control or bug fixes or error correction, but they're kind of infamous for doing more than just quality control.
I'm sorry I can't put it up on the screen, or I probably could, but I'm going to read what they're about. Okay,
their mission statement.
Their mission statement, if you will. Founded in 2018, Sweet Baby Incorporated is a narrative development and consultation studio based in Montreal and working around the globe. Our mission is to tell better, more empathetic stories while diversifying and enriching the video games industry. We aim to make games more engaging, more fun, more meaningful, and more inclusive for everyone. So that's what they're about. And if you look at some of the games that they've been involved with, yes, representation, inclusion has been there, and there's nothing wrong with representation. But when it really goofs up the story sometimes, or completely changes characters that you have traditionally known to see them growing up or whatever, it's a problem. It's an issue I don't like anyway, personally. You guys can feel the way you want, but that's me. That's what I'm going to say about that. And a lot of the games they've been involved with, a lot of people have had problems with their stories. I myself despise that Spider-Man 2 story. And I feel that they have been included in that situation. And they're one of the reasons why, is what I'm getting at. But anyways.
Well, so ask your audience.
Yeah.
Ask your audience, Fonz. Like, how many people are from the Western side, the Western hemisphere, from North America? Because things are much different on the other side of the world. We see studios that, to be colloquial about it, you have studios that don't mind having big rear ends and tight outfits and lots of cleavage and the strong male protagonists and the sexy hot female protagonist or antagonist or whatever, right? Yeah. You'll see that in certain games, but then over here in the Western studios, it's being shunned, it's being corrected, it's being
can't do that.
I'm a big fan of Playground games, and I've kept my mouth shut about the female portrayal of the protagonist in Fable, but I don't know why they took that nice looking girl with freckles and curly hair and gave her bushy eyebrows, and just, it sounds so rude to say it, but it just almost seems like they did something on purpose. Like, let's turn the traditional fantasy character on its head. And you hear this from others, all these studios that say in a modern era. And I don't speak up about this stuff because I like to let people be whatever they want.
Of course,
I have people that are close to me. You and I have talked about this a lot. We have people that are our families or people close to us or really close friends that are whatever they want. They can be this, they can be that, they can be who or whatever they want to be. And I'm all for that because I want people to feel okay. I want them to feel like they can be understood and they can be accepted. But sometimes I feel like, why do you need to do some of these things in games when it just... Everyone talked about how that Fable character looked instead of talking about, well, I mean, to be fair, they did talk about how amazing and how that doesn't look like real gameplay, but
yeah, a lot of people were out there talking about the facial features of the woman, because the woman, the actual woman that portrays the character or who they've got the likeness from is a pretty woman.
She's got the little chin. She's got the freckles. Like the character has the freckles. She has dark hair instead of brown hair. She's got...
Yeah, a lot of people said the same thing about... a lot of people said the same thing about Aloy. They said the same thing about Aloy and the model that portrayed, her character. They got the likeness from. It's
and she changed. She changed in the second one just a little bit.
Yeah.
And now people are saying that the new Lara Croft looks a little bit too manly. I've looked at it and that she looks like she's supposed to. But people are really itchy about this. I see people in the comments saying, oh, this woke stuff. And Fonz, do you think it's starting to really affect how people can enjoy their games? Or is it just
I think it's been affecting people. I think it's been affecting a lot of people for years. Especially in the last 3-4 years. I've seen more and more of this and people getting upset about it. I think, not to get too political or anything, I think that a lot of people are getting kind of fed up with some of this stuff. I'm seeing more and more discourse over this topic, and it's not just the video games, it's movies, everything else that people are getting upset with. I mean, Disney themselves have been, getting a lot of backlash and heat over stuff like this for quite some time. And it makes you wonder, are they failing in what they're trying to do? I mean, because these companies like Sweet Baby and stuff, because they're trying to include, and as I said in the beginning, I'm all good with the inclusion and stuff, but it gets to the point when you rewrite certain characters and you make them different than what they already were. That's when it's a problem, and it's a problem with a lot of people, because you can make characters and include them. You can just do different things with, the story where you don't have to crush it or kill it.
Can I say something super offensive?
Stories. Go ahead.
When you're talking about a superhero or a fantasy game, I think you really should lean in on the dreamlike fantasy character model. And this is really hard to say, but lately in movies, like they've really instead of going and finding the most beautiful men or women to play these characters, sometimes they're like, let's make them more grounded in reality. I'm like, but that's not what we're supposed to, that's not what you typically have done for 70 or 100 years. And this Gamergate thing's been going on for a little over 10 years when Anita Sarkeesian started her whole campaign. And she course corrected a lot of stuff that was really offensive, and some stuff was over course corrected and oversteered.
For sure.
But when I played Spider-Man 2, there were characters in there, and the way they were, I thought, that just doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem like... It was weird to me that Miles Morales' girlfriend looked really young, and Miles is really charismatic, and they had her, she's hearing impaired, which is really cool because they had this whole thing about how they both do sign language, and it brought a really touching thing. But it was I don't know, where are these fantastic comic related characters that we used to see in the movies, like when the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies first came out? I just felt like there's like they kind of like cut the edges off of things to make them more relatable to everybody. And
just
I don't know if
you don't even have to go towards the movies, Colt. You just go from Spider-Man 2018 to Spider-Man 2. There's some huge differences, and some would say for the better. Most that I hear from say that story was
they changed Mary Jane's face quite a bit, and I don't care because I didn't really care for her much of the story. I thought Doc was an amazing character.
For me, it was not even like the looks of people or anything within the game. For me, it was the story. It was the story. You can tell that something had changed there, and Sweet Baby just sprinkled their nonsense all over it. That's the way I'm gonna. They just made it all Disney. That's what I'm going to say. Sith Lord, thank you for being a member for 4 months. He says, it's a great Sunday night when it's Colt and Fonz. Yes. It's always fun when Colt's around. Jerry, thank you for the $2. He says, nothing but love to you and Colt. Take care, gents. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
We also got RDX Son of Fed again. He says, I love how people are upset over fictional characters, LOL, unless it's teens in revealing clothing. We don't own these IP. Yes, you're right. But here's the thing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
When you're, okay, let's say you grew up on comics and you love, Spider-Man, and you go into Spider-Man 2018 and it was an incredible game for you. And you're like, that's the Spider-Man that I like. That's the one that I remember. Then you go to Spider-Man 2 and you see some things that's written in there that you're like, why is he always needing help? Why is he always getting berated by Mary Jane? And like, it's just different. It was a different feeling. Like, or what if you like a character and they just completely change him, make him a completely different race or gender or whatever? It's weird. Because when you do things like that, you're changing what you love and what you know. It's not about necessarily the race and gender, but it's what you know and what you've grew up with and stuff like that. And you can create new characters to bring in if you want to include. That's the way I feel about the situation. I would never want to change Black Panther and make him a scrawny white guy, that does your taxes too. I want to see.
Make him look like me.
Colt Eastwood, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just, it's weird. It is.
I think you seem to serve the character and the game first. Make the movie or make the game really enjoable.
But that's the thing. Serve the character.
Yeah.
Make sure you do him justice or her justice. Now, basically why I brought up Sweet Baby is because what happened is this guy curated all these things, the games that they've been a part of, that's public knowledge. And Sweet Baby has gone after him and pretty much like is trying to get this guy canceled everywhere, trying to get his Steam account canceled, Twitter, everything.
What, are they not? They're not happy.
They're not happy because he curated this list for people to see the games they've been involved with. And it's like, yeah, you're right. They're not happy. It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense to me. It's just a weird situation.
Our friend Ono Alex did a video about this. Was there any points that you'd like to hit home? That because somebody said in the chat that he really connected some dots when it came to this. And you watched this video. I only watched like the first few minutes.
I didn't watch the whole thing. No, I didn't watch the whole thing. I didn't have time to check it all out yet. But no, it's a situation where, it's sad that we're going through any of this stuff. I just think that people need to, write their games, write their movies, whatever they want to do without having to change too much of characters that have source material. That's source material should never really be, stepped on. I think there's a reason why people love those characters, and it's that source material. It's wherever they get it from, the comics, though, even if it was something, a fictional character made on a TV show years ago or whatever, that source material is why people connect with characters. And when you change that, it changes people's perspective of that character, and it gets people like going, wait, what's going on here? And that's my issue with it. BT Maverick 707 with the $10 says, I had more of a problem with Spider-Man 2. Insomniac taking out the rainbow flags in New York for the Middle Eastern countries, kind of two-faced if they're trying to push inclusion. Thank you, guys. Yeah, that is kind of weird, but the thing is,
they have to do that to sell the game over there.
Yeah, if they don't, they'll just ban the game over there. So that's what it's.
You know, I think because you and I are super old, Fonz, and I'm like, are we super old-fashioned? But we grew up like when we were really little, like when we were in grade school. We grew up watching TV shows with a totally diverse cast of characters. I was just thinking about like the A-Team. The best character on that was Mr. T.
BA.
And we talk about different strokes. These old TV shows, like I was like, oh man, am I like one of those old-fashioned guys who doesn't want anything changed? And I think back to, we were making fun of Facts of Life and all these other shows, and even back in the early to mid 80s,
I watched a lot of Sanford and Son. I watched All in the Family. I watched all these shows that were very, very like the Jeffersons. You know,
there was the
today
there was a
they
cute
would not
girl.
fly.
There was
none of them would.
Yeah,
fly.
there was the good-looking guy, the nerdy guy, the cute girl, the tomboy, all the different
all
diverse
the different races,
characters.
everything, genders.
And so we were raised on that. And maybe I didn't grow up in a place that had a lot of ethnic diversity. You did. I grew up in a place that's half Hispanic. So like I got to see diversity everywhere I went, TV and movies growing up. So I didn't grow up intolerant. And I like to see a wide cast of characters. I just feel like sometimes they're not serving the story
again,
or
it's,
the game
it's
properly.
the bottom line. It's the source material that I feel that shouldn't be messed with. RDX Son of Fed, thank you for the $6.99 Canadian. He says, I grew up with console exclusives, and I'm told to be okay with games going to other places. Things change, and so do fictional characters.
Dang.
I don't agree with that, sir. I don't agree with that. But I do agree with you
agree
having
with
your own opinion.
You don't think we should get used to the idea that exclusives will go away, Fonz?
No, I think that you should get accustomed to that idea. I think we're going to have a lot of bigger games go elsewhere, especially on the Xbox side, going to PlayStation. You know that's going to happen. But it's, you know what, it's not a topic I really want to get into right now. Let's move on. Let's move on for that topic, and let's move on to another one, because we've talked about this third party thing forever, guys, and that's the only reason why I don't want to get into that. Like, no. Colt, here's some more controversy. Apparently, Dragon's Dogma 2 is getting a rating of M for mature because there's too much sexy time in it, apparently. So basically what it is, and this is really a non-issue, and I don't know why it would get an M for this, but it depicts, I'll call her a lady of the night, if you will. and your protagonist character,
a swimming start today.
Yeah. And your character getting down to their underwear, sitting on a bed, and it fading to black. That's one of the scenes it portrays.
Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 1 type
so
stuff.
It doesn't really show anything, but there is a form of nudity in it, which I find kind of funny because it is bare breasts on some of the monsters. But here's the thing. There was the same thing in Dragon's Dogma 1, and I don't think that got a mature rating. So, because I just played Dragon's Dogma 1. And I seen those harpies with their bare breasts out, and I'm just like, okay, that's weird.
Harpies.
So, yeah, it's getting an M for mature. So there's that. I'm excited for the game, though, guys. Chat, are you excited for the game? I am. I'm especially more excited now that I know the harpies are going to be out in full force. Can't wait.
What are harpies? They're like female, like
they're those flying, they got wings. They look like females, sort of, the torso anyway. And they got wings.
I think I remember them in The Witcher.
Yeah, pretty much the same. Pretty much the same stuff. Yeah. Infinite Umbra says, I'm buying it day and date now. See? People are excited.
There you go.
Yeah. All you got to say is boobies and everybody comes running.
What was the other thing that came out about Dragon's Dogma? That it's supposed to have a performance mode on the new consoles, at least on the X and PS5.
Did that actually come out finally?
That's not fully official yet. There was something else I saw just before the show about Dragon's Dogma. I don't remember. I don't remember.
You don't remember. Oh, you know what? I got some gameplay. I should show some gameplay. GTL. Not a Dragon's Dogma, of course. I don't have that game. And where's my freaking gameplay?
Let's see if your new overlay works, because we had to move the cameras around. That's why we were just a bit late.
Yeah, I moved it.
You moved it ahead of time? Okay.
Yeah, I moved it.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, there's some gameplay. Some gameplay is up. It's Helldivers 2. Been playing that as well. A little bit here and there. Not too much lately.
Oh, I have to watch Helldivers 2 gameplay while the show goes?
There you go.
Oh, the worst game. No, I'm just kidding. You and I have not played it since that.
Yeah, we got to play it again. Let's play it tonight. Let's play it tonight.
Oh, okay, I got to finish Mirage, but I'll play
beat Mirage. Yeah, beat Mirage. We'll get in a party chat. You can beat Mirage while I play some of Last Epoch. But yeah, no, I'm having fun with it. It's a decent game. I'm playing with my brother.
Did you see the CEO of Arrowhead Gaming absolutely destroy that Unleashed guy on Twitter, like the big toxic console PlayStation fanboy said, just face it, Xbox, Halo, Helldivers better than Halo. And the CEO of Arrowhead said, why are you doing this? Like, why can't we just enjoy things? And he had almost 19,000 likes. Just buried that guy. Buried him.
Yeah, you should. That's crazy.
If you're going to console war on Twitter, you need to do a little more carefully than that. Yeah. Not just right on the nose like an idiot. It's so funny that the head of that studio clocked that and it's like, no, bro, I don't think so.
Argeet Johnny said, are you glad you signed up for this episode, Colt?
Yeah, we really started off great.
Yeah, I love it. I love talking about controversies. I wish on this platform I could be just more forthcoming with some stuff that
we were on a podcast that could not, would not, should not, will not talk about controversial topical news items when it came to gaming.
That was pushed aside. Yeah. There's some,
but it made for a more fun show more of the and we didn't get a clip for Exactly. Yeah, Dorian Gray. Yeah, he's the CEO. If you look at I don't know if you're on Twitter or at Twitter X, but I put out a tweet today, like 2 hours ago, and said, "Look at this toxic console fanboy." Yeah, I mean, come on. Most of us own more than one place that we play games. Like, you don't have to worry about that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I know it's been a tough week for many of you out there, but especially for the gaming industry. So many layoffs have been happening, Colt. And we have, EA, Embracer, Sony. We've got so many layoffs going on. I don't know, man.
And cancellations and delays.
Games canceled. Yeah, we've got like games like Twisted Metal, The Mandalorian, The Lord of the Rings, Heroes of Middle Earth. And there was that Blizzard survival game, of course, a couple of months back. So many games getting canceled, and games that we haven't even heard of that weren't announced yet are canceled as well. And a lot of people are out there asking, are we going through another gaming crash? Is that going to happen because of all this? And of course, I tell people no. Colt, I mean, I don't know. What's your feelings on this situation? What do you tell people when they ask you something like that?
My answer is yes, in a way. By the way, Sweet Baby locked down all their tweets to completely protect their account. I was going to go see what was going on.
Sweet Baby. Yeah.
Sweet Baby Ray.
Oh, yeah, it's a good barbecue sauce.
I think we're not going to see a video game crash where they're burying cartridges or games in the desert. Like, that joke. I think there'll be sort of a Jenga toppling of the AAA monster that is making big, massive licensed games. EA just said they're no longer going to make licensed games outside of Madden and FIFA and whatever. They're going to drop. They're going to keep the Jedi Order or whatever you call that franchise. They're already working on the third one. I think we're going to see a toppling of
they're working on
AAA games.
What is the third? third game?
They're working on a third Jedi game.
Oh, the Survivor
Survivor Fallen Order. I don't know what to call that. Other than
I don't know. We don't know.
Games.
We haven't had an announcement yet, so we don't know.
But they did say they are working on the third Jedi game, so they're going to start development on that. So we'll see it.
By the way,
5 years.
Hargeet told me he can't wait for that new Jedi game. Can't wait for it.
What, does he not like the? Well, I didn't finish Survivor.
You don't know about Hargeet and his affliction to Star Wars games. Like,
I loved Fallen Order to death.
He hates Star
Survivor
Wars
just
so
didn't
much
do it for me.
Because again, they changed too much about it and stuff, and he's over it. You know, it's too Disney, way too Disney for him.
Yeah, it is kind of Disney. Yeah, I think there's going to be toppling of pushing for big blockbuster, big budget AAA games. I think studios are going to realize that that's not panning out for them. And it's one of the big complaints that we get from Hiroki Totoki of PlayStation.
Hiroki, my man.
I don't think he wants those studios making those big budget games outside of Sony Santa Monica and Naughty Dog. And then even Neil Druckmann's like, I don't know how many games I haven't left in me. I'm like, just go hang out with our buddy King. King loves you. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's the crash, is pushing to make the biggest games, which I think was a thing for about a decade. Let's see how big the game could be. Let's bring on 12 studios. Let's have a $300 to $500 million budget. The only people that can do that are select studios.
Yeah, I think you'll see a lot less budget being put into some of these AAA developed games. I think you're going to see more, AA-esque games from these AAA developers, or smaller games, on a much smaller scale, maybe getting less celebrities to voice and do that sort of stuff, because that seems to take a lot of the money. And also, I think some of these companies just spend way too much on marketing. Way too much.
Well, all of them but Xbox.
Well, here's the thing though. With the games, and I'll say this about Xbox too. If you put out a great game, a very compelling game that a lot of people are taking a liking to, they will do the marketing for you.
Yeah.
And you've got enough people out there that would put the word out, hey, this is a great game. Helldivers 2, for instance, I didn't see a ton of marketing for this game. Pal World, didn't see a ton of marketing for that game. And look at the numbers. So, it goes to show you make a good game and people will come. Yes. That's just what it's about.
Hey, even Insomniac said that they're thinking about breaking up their games into smaller chunks and selling it for $50 a pop.
Yeah, because they want to try to get $100 out of you, to break up their games. $50.
Yeah, make Spider-Man 3 a cliffhanger halfway through. Instead of being a 35 to 42 hour game, make it a 20+ hour game, and it ends in a cliffhanger, and 2 or 3 years later you play the second part of the sequel. Final Fantasy's doing it right now. They broke Final Fantasy
pretty
7.
Much. Yeah, you're right.
A 16-bit game, I think it was, or was it 8-bit?
It was
16-bit game.
No, it wasn't 16 or 8. It was on the PlayStation 1, so 32, I guess. Would it be?
Yeah, whatever they call that. I thought it was on the older consoles.
No, it was on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah,
first. Final Fantasy 7 anyway.
They're breaking that one into 3 parts. Hey, they did it with the Hobbit movie, and I love that. So whatever. Maybe that's the right way to do it, is just to make these games more bite-sized. Not bite-sized, make them more manageable. I don't mean bite-sized for us as the player, but make them more manageable funding-wise and time-wise. Because, you and me and Hargeet have talked on these shows that we're tired of waiting 6 years for a game. Mm-hmm. Sick of it. Because it's so overblown. 2 to 3 years of motion capture, and like you talk about bringing in B-list or A-list celebrities to play small characters. Play big characters.
Lotus Esprit, they them. He's just sent another $50. Said good discussion, man. Thank you very much, man. Seriously, it's awesome. Anyways, Colt, I just saw that. I was like, dude just spent $100 on the show. I had to shout him out. Crazy. So Colt, I don't know. I just see these developers, these big AAA developers, just spending so much on games that they seem to be making with the mindset of, especially the live service games, they're constantly thinking, okay, how can we monetize this first before they really even flesh out the whole game or get through the story and everything. Like, how you can, you see people when they're behind the scenes, like setting up to do to make a video game or a movie or something. They have storyboards and stuff in the rooms. Like, I could see them having the storyboards up, but very first it just has dollar signs and like, this is how we're going to make money on this and this before they even come up with a whole story. That's what it seems like to me that they do nowadays in these games. It's like,
well, I mean, that would imply that the developers are pushing for the money, but I think
it's the publishers for sure. Yeah.
It's the publishers. Publishers are even the own in-house publisher of CD Projekt Red was the downfall of the launch of Cyberpunk. They were pushing so hard for them to finish when they weren't ready.
But let me ask you
this.
These
publishers
Colt,
want more money. And
let me ask you this, though. How does that explain Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? Because I don't think it's just the publishers. Because I think it's the lead developers as well that are in cahoots with this. Because
you think the lead developers wanted to make
the lead dev at Rockstar says that they intended to make that game the way they made it. This was on them, not the publisher. He had come out and said that. So
I mean, what happened? WB did Gotham Knights.
Rockstar was amazing. I'm not Rockstar. Rocksteady had a great freaking run with the Arkham Knight series, the Arkham series. Not the Arkham Knight series. That Arkham Knight is one of the games.
I think they should have just grabbed another character and made a single player game, but everyone says that. So what else is new?
Yeah. And then there's a lot of people that'll come out there and say, hey, these companies aren't taking risks. So they took a risk. They really did, but it was just a bad risk. They just messed up. That's
so weird.
I haven't played that game, Colt, but I know you did. But nothing about that game.
Gosh.
And I've watched a lot of gameplay to see if I would be interested at all before it came out.
I'm not convinced when people say it's a good game. It's an awful game, and it's 10 points below Gotham Knights. So
tell me if I'm right. I haven't played the game. Okay. But tell me if I'm right. So from what I've gathered, what I've watched for at least an hour's worth, if you put it all together, is basically you're running around just shooting a lot of random enemies on rooftops and stuff. You're constantly like up in the air, like
you have to understand
either flying or swinging.
You have to understand.
Are you ever on the ground? Because I don't ever see that.
Yeah, you are. The traversal's awful. The gunplay is heavily auto aimed. It's just there's a problem with spawning in random generic purple and aliens. Video games to the video game extreme. Drops down like regenerating pods. Enemies come out of it. There's nothing unique about them at all. You shoot them and they just go away and they leave you a little bit of ammo and the gear is just different. It's just a game of a game of a game. Coming from a guy who I would tell you right now that Avengers single player campaign is way better than Suicide Squad's. I think it's even higher rated. And Gotham Knights is a better game. It's a 10-point higher game than Suicide Squad. So I don't even know what they're doing, but it kind of goes back to the beginning of the show where our favorite people that made the games we loved in the early 2000s and around 2010, they no longer work at any of the studios that we worship. If you talk about
that's true.
If you talk about BioWare or Rocksteady, and Rockstar is like an anomaly, and I really hope that Grand Theft Auto 6 is great as we hope it can be, because even some of their lead people have completely
Dan Houser's gone, and he was their lead writer, and he was amazing, in my opinion. So it's sad to see him go, but his brother's still there, right?
Yeah, the problem, Sam, right?
Or
did you say Sam already?
No.
Yeah, Sam and Dan.
The one that left.
Yeah, Sam and Dan. So it's real. If you're like Fonz and I, if like you're in your 30s to 40s something and you've played games for a long time, you've run through the gamut of amazing games that probably there's this period in your life where I would say for probably your target audience and the most people that watch here are a little over 30 years old, right? Your favorite games probably landed somewhere at the end of the 360 PS3 era, maybe some in the Xbox One PS4 era. Like that's probably your favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
As a collective, those studios, those people no longer work there. That leadership's completely changed. Those people that made those games amazing. Like look at Borderlands. Like Borderlands 1 was incredible and 2 was amazing. And then I went into 3 and I'm like, what happened? This is so annoying. It's like a parody of a parody. And some of those people just are gone. Those writers are gone. They're doing other things.
I mean, you got to think about it. You were talking about companies that have been around 20, 30 years, you know, and with a lot of them, and even companies that are only around for, you know, a few years. I'm sure they get a lot of people that come and go, employee wise, you know, and these developers, we often talk about like the Dan Hausers or the Sam Hausers and you know, the Neil Druckmanns and stuff, but it's really the developers that are never talked about that make these games, that are really putting these things together. These guys who we look up to, or some people do anyway, they like the Neil Druckmann, you know, some people look up to him and go, wow, he's, you know, a great writer, great creator of these games and stuff, or Dan Hauser, same thing. But it's, yes, they may write it, they may, you know, just outline the game, but it's those developers, you know, that are at those desks at their computers building these games, and they don't get no credit for it. And, you know, they should get lots of credit for it. But those people, there's a large turnover there all the time. I'm sure that there's people that come and go. And, you know, Microsoft had an issue where they were constantly, they were just getting people for a short amount of time, and they would come in, help with games, and then they'd leave. 343, they had that going on a lot, where they would just hire some people for like a year, and they would come in, help, and then bounce. So I don't know what kind of cohesion you could have, or what kind of a really put together great team when you have people coming and going like that, you know. So I don't know. I just think that at the end of the day, these games or whatever, these developers are not, you know, again, they're not the same. They're not what we grew up with, the BioWares and all that. It's totally different people. So we're going to get different games. Outside of that, hopefully some of those people at the top that do stay, they kind of hold it together and kind of, you know, keep the same kind of a vibe of the game or whatever, or franchise they're putting out there year after year, or every 5 years, every 6 years. In Rockstar's case, it's every freaking 10, 13. Like, they rarely put games out at Rockstar. And speaking of Rockstar, by the way, Colt, did you hear that they're going to be going into crunch mode? So,
well, I don't know. I mean, do they really call it crunch mode? They're asking their employees to go back 9 to 5 to the office, and they're
9 to 5, 5 days a week. And at first, when I heard that, I go, wait a minute. They're what do you mean 5 days a week? Like, is that crunch? Because that's not crunch to me.
That's a normal thing, but
somebody did. One of the developers on Twitter had said something about it. He said, "Oh, great! So I guess I'll have 2 days at home. I get to work." So, meaning
yikes.
that he works 7 days a week or whatever.
Works 7 days anyway.
Yeah. But,
yeah, I don't know. In a creative collective environment like that, where you're creating a game, it's good to be able to look over someone's shoulder at their monitor, walk up and just get hands-on troubleshooting things. And I think in a game studio, I would hope that people could come back and work together and synergize and create a game. And we've got like almost 2 years left of Grand Theft Auto 6, right? Jeez.
And
it's going to be out like probably holiday 25.
We just spoke of these possible, you know, AAA development teams spending less of a budget on their games because, you know, everybody's worried about all these layoffs and stuff. But here we have Rockstar, who's spending reportedly $2 billion on this game. That's astronomical.
Oh my gosh. $2 billion. Is it really?
that's the rumor. I Googled it myself. I'm looking at it. I'm like, this is what's going around, that they reportedly are spending $2 billion for this game. And some people are like, how are they going to make that back? I'm like, are you kidding right now? Look at how much they've made with Grand Theft Auto 5. They're going to do the same thing with this game. It's going to have an online mode that's going to just, shark cards and everything else. There's going to be MTX up the wazoo. People are going to be buying.
Because people are going to buy it.
Game. Yeah.
Hey, there was a rumor that they were going to try and bring back the other Grand Theft Auto maps and make a Grand Theft Auto world online instead of just being inside.
Yeah. Game Shark said it
in Miami.
Rockstar is the exception, not the rule. It's pretty much
absolutely
true. That's one development team we haven't heard from yet about layoffs. So,
you know what really comes down to Game Shark is it's that leadership. And if that leadership changes, you can expect your game to completely change. We saw it with Mass Effect. We saw the leadership change after 2, and there were some changes in 3 that people didn't like. And then when they went to Andromeda, it was a different team. So if you don't have the same leadership leading, you're not going to get the same result. Another great example would be Ken Levine making Judas. And now that we saw more gameplay, it looks like another BioShock game.
It does.
And when you have people that create code, animate, do all this stuff, if they're under that direction where Ken Levine's walking by and going, no, it's got to feel like this. It's got to look like that. It's got to do this because it's got to stay true to my vision. Then I fully expect Judas to feel like the BioShock games we've loved since the early 2000s. Now, if you've got Rocksteady who made the Arkham games, and I don't even know this, Fonz, but I would assume that their leadership has changed before they went into Suicide Squad, because that's definitely not what we would expect from that team. So the problem is we've loved games for 20 plus years, and people just don't typically stay at a studio for 20 years. I have to wonder what in the world's going on with Gears 6. Rod Ferguson's been gone for 3 years now. And I don't know if the leadership at Coalition, none of them are from the Epic team that was led by Cliff Bleszinski. So I don't know what to expect from Gears 6, other than it looking fantastic and running great. I don't know what to expect until we see it maybe this year. So
by the way,
these are things that I worry about because I dive so far into the news and I read about all this development and I wonder what could be as I look forward to games. So,
by the way, one game that I did like that Sweet Baby was part of was Gears 5.
They were?
Yeah. Yep. It's on the list. But I enjoyed Gears 5. But
I did too. I really liked it.
I don't know what we're going to get with Gears 6. I hope we get a continuation of the story that we got in Gears 5 because I did like it. I ended up thinking that it was a great ending and like I was looking forward to the next part. So do you think we're going to get a continuation? We should. I want some closure.
I mean, we have to.
Yeah.
I just hope that they button up the story in the first couple hours or first hour and then move forward.
That would be good. Yeah. Yeah. That'd be good.
I'm one of the few that really like Kate Diaz, and I like Del Walker, and I like those characters. I didn't like, well, I guess I kind of like JD at the end, but yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Somebody said my face is froze on the, is it really? Is it really?
Oh yeah, it is. They can still hear you. Just go back to your regular overlay.
Yeah, let me go back and forth. Let's see what happens.
That's weird. You're leaning to push a button.
Can't do that.
You can't do that.
Nah, I'm still doing it. That is
Let me look on Discord.
That is weird.
Oh yeah, you're stuck on Discord. Turn your camera off on Discord and back on. Don't leave. Just turn your camera off and back on.
No, I'm going to leave, damn it.
Don't you leave.
No,
anyway,
I can't leave.
No, you can't leave, but you just shut your camera off and back on. You have the same camera as me, so it should work.
Yeah.
There, are you back?
Yep. I'm back.
Let me look at the feed.
So
did
what,
you shut it off
did
and
it
back
like
on?
overheat or something? That's weird.
No.
That's weird.
So he said Beetlejuice. Let me see when it catches
Beetlejuice.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Got too much Beetlejuice there, man. yeah, the game feed looks fine. It was just my camera. I don't know why it did that.
Yeah, it's back.
That's weird. Totally weird, dude.
It was massively huge.
It was
Can you play that?
massively huge.
Oh man, that thing is massively huge.
Is that what I sound like?
Yeah.
This is
Oh,
what I
man,
sound
that
like
thing
to me.
is massively huge.
That's what Colt sounds like.
Oh my gosh, that is so massively huge.
That's what my voice sounds like. That's what
You
I
didn't
sound like
sound
in
like
real
that.
life.
Yeah.
Oh my, you can't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, what were we talking about? Man, I've got an old brain.
We're just saying how Gears is going to make some changes, and and we'll probably see it this year, I think.
But yeah, so
I hope so.
just to button up that whole Rockstar going into crunch look, I cannot wait for Grand Theft Auto 6 myself. So I'm like, go ahead and crunch away because I want to play. And it kind of sucks because we were talking about this just last week about how, it's going to be 30 frames on these consoles, most likely. I doubt there's going to be a performance mode because we've never seen that from Rockstar anyway. I could hope because honestly, I can't wait for that game to come to PC. That because we know it's going to be a year out. That's going to be too long.
Yeah.
I love Rockstar.
Hey, we all ready to play it at 30 frames on the new console?
Sucks, but
That's
it
what I'm
is
thinking.
what it is. But are you excited to play the game? I'm excited to play it.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way I'm going to wait for maybe a year to play it on PC. So yeah, we'll all be playing it on our consoles, and maybe it'll have a performance mode, but Digital Foundry doesn't think they're going to make those visual compromises to put in a performance mode.
Yeah.
I tend to agree with or line up with their predictions. So
And that's kind of
we'll
what
see.
that's
They also
kind of
don't think the PS5 Pro will do it. 60 frames, bruh.
Yeah, I
They
don't think it will either.
bruh.
I don't think it will either. Because if it's rumored to have that, or if the rumors are true that it has like a marginal upgrade to the CPU, I don't see it doing it.
Yeah.
I just don't. Now, this is something that I've been arguing with some people, even D-Batch, like he's gone back and forth with it. And so I've been arguing with him lately saying, I don't think that the Pro is going to run that game at 60 frames because traditionally Rockstar's always pushed for fidelity. And I think if there's any wiggle room there, they're going to push fidelity even further on the Pro.
You want to hear a hot take from me about that?
Go ahead.
I said,
Hot take.
I said, what would you guys do? But right before we saw the trailer, it was like the week before we knew the trailer was coming, like when it got leaked. I said, what would you do if Grand Theft Auto 6 looks as good as Red Dead Redemption 2, but in that massive open city? Oh man, that's massively huge.
Oh man, that
And
thing
people-
is massively huge.
I said that and people were like, no, bro, it's going to look way better in Red Dead 2. And I've watched that trailer a lot of times. I think it's right on the level of graphical fidelity with Red Dead 2.
Yeah,
but just
I think it's
more
up there.
stuff in the background.
Yeah,
I think it's really to me, it looks almost identical graphically, but just way more cool stuff going on. And
Yeah,
there's going to be
people-
way more interaction.
for sure. And people forget that even with Red Dead 2, as big and as open as it is in that world, there's a lot going on there. It's not like a dead world. There's all.
So here's
kinds
my
of stuff
contradiction.
Go ahead.
Why I say that is in 2025, if the game comes out and it's on the graphical settings of a 2018 Red Dead 2, I think it could be possible that game has a performance mode. Because they're like, let's get it to look as good as Red Dead 2 from 2018. In 25, let's get that in that big open city. We'll add, there's going to be more stuff, more interactions, because all the physics are there. They're all still there. There's going to be things more cranking more at the same time. It's like maybe the current hardware can run that in performance mode at 1080p or a little higher. I don't know. Maybe it's possible. But Digital Foundry doesn't see it that way. They think the game looks better than Red Dead. And like I said, I tend to trust them.
Okay, so
I wouldn't be shocked if there's a performance mode, but my flag is planted. I don't think there's going to be one. I don't think the Pro will run it at 60, the same as Digital Foundry thinks. So that's where I'm sitting.
So if these consoles can run Red Dead 2, the ones we have now, the Series X, PlayStation 5, can run Red Dead 2 at 60 frames, why haven't we got that on those consoles yet?
Maybe it can't. Maybe they can't.
See, there's the other part to it, you know?
I am running Red Dead 2 on my PC at 1440p high settings, which is basically the Xbox version is running at high settings, the Xbox One X on the Series X. I'm running a 3080 with a Ryzen 7 at 1440p. I had to drop it from 4K to 1440p to hold 60. So maybe, but my PC is way more powerful than the Series X.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe
that's what I'm getting at.
When they try to run it, it doesn't hold 60 well enough. So they just said, we're just going to wait.
That's what I'm getting at. But I don't know. When it's all said and done, GTA, I mean, my love for Rockstar games is huge. I growing up, Colt, the Grand Theft Auto series, not growing up, but as I was an adult anyway, growing up, I guess I did have a lot of growing up today in my 20s
to do. Same.
Damn it. I still got a lot to do. But I've always loved Grand Theft Auto. Like, I just think it's an incredible franchise. I loved Red Dead 2. Don't get me wrong. That's my favorite franchise from them. But Grand Theft Auto is so damn good. Just the worlds they build, the cities they build, the people within it. They've always had a level of detail within these games that are really immersive. Even going back to Grand Theft Auto 3, Colt, it like interacting with some people on the street and stuff, it was fun. It was not as detailed as 4 and 5 got, but damn, it was good. Like from the start. San Andreas was amazing.
Oh yeah. That's the game that brought me back to gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
San Andreas is just incredible. That music, everything about it, just beautiful. God, that game was so good. It's too bad the remasters were so shit. They were so bad.
I bought them day one too. I should have waited because
did they have all the music, by the way? Did they have all the music?
All but like 3 songs. Yeah,
really?
Almost every song remained on there.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. But what a crappy port. I mean, I don't understand why Rockstar didn't say, you know what? Let's give these a few years and really make something special that would last the test of time. They really. Oh gosh. For
me, I loved Vice City as well, and I think the music in that game anyway. I don't think the game itself is as good as San Andreas, but I think the music rivals San Andreas because it's just a different. You know, we got a lot of 80s music on there, which I love. Grew up with. Now I could say that I grew up with those. But yeah, man, those games are so dang good. Chat, do you like Grand Theft Auto games? Everybody does.
All of them do, of course.
Everybody does. And that's when people say, are they going to make their $2 billion back with Grand Theft Auto 6? Hell yes. I expect this game to sell like nothing we've ever seen before.
I mean, I hope so. That their online for Red Dead Redemption 2 nearly died. Like it didn't live up to the hype. So hopefully their Grand Theft Auto Online for 6 is amazing.
It's not even just about the online portion, just the game itself, the campaign. I think people are going to be lining up to play to see.
It'll be the best sold game of the decade.
I think ever. I think ever. It's just going to just do numbers like we've never seen. And they'll probably up the price. They're talking about maybe $80 to $100 for that game. And you're going to see people lining up for it.
I was thinking about that, and as some people corrected me on this. I'm like, I don't think that Rockstar could just say $99 for Grand Theft Auto 6. I think they might split it and say it's $70 for the game. And if you want the game that packages with online access to Grand Theft Auto Online, which would be the biggest experience ever,
I see.
It's $100 to get the online access. But yeah, which is a battle pass or online pass is a horrible thing, but I think they might sell it separately. In fact, I think they might
people will buy it.
I think they might sell you Grand Theft Auto Online standalone for $40. But if you want to buy them both, you can get them for $100. Save yourself $10. That's my prediction.
Damn.
Grand Theft Auto 6, $70. Grand Theft Auto 6 with online, $100. If you buy them separate, if you decide down the road, man, everyone's playing this, you already bought the game, it's going to be $39.99 to get the access and open up the map for online. That's my prediction.
By the way,
I think they're trying
it's
to
not a
test
bad
that
prediction.
for us.
That's a pretty good one. By the way, Abdel114 says GTA is overrated as fudge. I disagree, sir. I wholeheartedly disagree. You know what? The thing I love about Rockstar games in general, especially their open world games, whether it be Red Dead or GTA, it's the worlds themselves. They create so many, like, there's so many details within these worlds, even in the cities and stuff. Like, you find so many cool things when you go exploring that just make you go, wow, I can't believe they put that in the game. Like, I love how they always parody real life in GTAs. They've always done that. They've always taken celebrity stories or gossip and always put them within their game in some way to parody and mimic how stupid people can be. And I love that. That's why you got like that Joker guy in the game, you know?
Yeah, he turned tail quick, didn't he?
Yeah, of course he did. Of course, man. You know how many lawyers Rockstar has? There's just no way. They got so much money. They can't really do anything about them using his likeness or whatever. Who does he think he is? He's not some celebrity or anything. Come on. He's a public figure and a felon. So there's that. It's crazy. Moving on. Let's move on, Colt. Let's talk about Saber Interactive. They bought their independence recently in a $500 million deal with the Embracer Group, Colt. So
they got out of Embracer.
Embracer. And
what were they working on, Fonz? Saber Interactive.
Well, they have been since 2022. They took over KOTOR from Aspire. And the rumor is that KOTOR will no longer be exclusive to PlayStation, that this will be multi-plat. I can't find anywhere like any hard evidence of this other than people just talking about it online in forums and stuff.
Yeah. I can't report on it because I don't know.
Exactly. I've tried to dive deep. I've tried to Google. People, if you see anything from Saber themselves or even Sony or anybody else that has any kind of real, real ties to this game, if it's going to be multi-plat or not, like I have no idea, but that is a rumor that a lot of people are talking about, and I don't know where it's coming from. I can't find the source. So there's that. I'm a fan of KOTOR. Are you a fan of KOTOR? Did you play it?
I've never played it. I've never played it.
Good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Chat, you guys like KOTOR, right? Wouldn't you like it to be multi-plat? Of course you would. Of course you would.
When you just said chat, we were doing this thing this weekend. When I get around my kids, I try to act like the kids do, and it really annoys them. And so we did this thing where we're like, you have some up chat on your shirt.
Oh my!
And my daughter goes, "What's up, chat?" So we thought we knew the joke, and we said to my mother-in-law, we're like, "You got some up chat on your coat," and she goes, "What's up, chat?" And we all started laughing. She's like, "What? I don't get it," because she's old. Wow. The what's up when you're like, "Hey, what's up, chat?" It's just stupid jokes, and that's what we were doing this weekend.
Yeah, KOTOR is definitely goated, Dorian. Love KOTOR. Played it only one time through the whole thing back in the day, way back in the day, but amazing game. And hopefully Saber Interactive can do it justice. And hopefully it does.
What I don't know is it moved from Asper Media to Saber Interactive, but why does that mean that PlayStation no longer has a time exclusivity deal?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to wonder here. Like, that's what I'm getting at. Like, I don't understand it unless, because it would be Embracer. Is it underneath Embracer? It's got to be, right? The game itself, the IP.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
In 2021, it was announced as a timed exclusive, but the once promising title since experienced setbacks. Fans are initially excited to hear that the former. Well, let me move forward to the actual information we need here. Jason Schreier reports that selling off Saber Interactive to a group of private investors could potentially bring more Embracer subsidiaries. Knights of the Old Republic remake. What's next? Developer plans. No release date or window has been offered before or after the news of the acquisition. It's not clear on what point in development Saber is currently in. The only clue fans have is the original developer, Astra Media, was removed from the project in 2022. It says nothing here about the exclusivity agreement. One project in particular is fans excited, Star Wars Outlaw, which is a multi-plat. Yeah, it doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
Our friend Red Wolf told us that in a
I've heard it from several people in various chats in our community and also online. I've seen it and read it as well. And I'm like, where's this info coming from? Nobody has a source. They're just like, I heard this. And I'm like, who told you? Like,
that would be huge news to be able to say, hey, this game is no longer money hatted. But my bet is if PlayStation paid for exclusivity agreement, I don't care what studio they did that through, they got exclusive agreement with the IP. So I would assume that's going to pass over to whoever's developing it. Maybe there's a resetting of the contract. I have no idea.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of Embracer, we were talking about the layoffs earlier, and they laid off a bunch of people, and they were just kind of honest about it, Colt. They just said, that they were just looking out for their investors or trying to keep them happy.
Yeah.
They just straight up came out and, told the truth. And I've seen a lot of people, say that's gross that they did that for their investors. Yeah, it is.
That's how it works.
But at the same time, at least they're telling you the truth. Like a lot of people out there always state, I wish these companies would just tell the truth and try instead of trying to sugarcoat it. Oh, we've been hit hard, so it's with a heavy heart that we have to let this team go, and people are like, they should just be honest. And Embracer they're pretty honest.
The games industry needs to serve the investors. They need to make money and then hopefully in the process make a game that is so well loved that it helps it make money. And video games have long been removed from being an art form over the past decade, I would say. That's part of the problem that we're dealing with as fans. Like what happened to my favorite game? What happened to my favorite franchise? Why are they doing this to my favorite franchise I love?
Yeah.
It's because the publishers and the investors are the high priority over everything. Why would that change? That's just how it is. But I think back in the hot peak era of gaming, there was so much passion that was like riding on the sidecar of the motorcycle, like so much passion that made our games so incredible. And we're still getting incredible games now. I mean, Hogwarts was such a corporate creation, and it was fantastic.
It was a great game, but you don't have to take my word for it. Anyways,
after these messages, we'll be right back.
Oh man, yeah, I was reading
those
Rainbow
are the good old days.
Anyways, but one thing about the layoffs that kind of struck me too is odd was Insomniac was affected. Colt. That one's kind of weird to me because Insomniac's been the development studio for Sony that's been keeping them afloat, giving them game after game every year. Like they've had something to come out, it seems. And they were even affected. What does that tell you, man?
That, I mean, they're making money. They should be good. But I mean, I think they barely made their great profit on Spider-Man 2 recently. So the whole games industry is in turmoil, really.
So I think the whole games what did they say they sold? Do you know how many copies they said they just sold to Spider-Man 2? Was it 10 million? Chat. Was it 10 million?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Because I mean, and that's great for sales. It's not terrible by any means or anything. But when you look at the attachment rate, it's not huge when you've got like 50 million consoles. I don't know how many they have out right now. Is it over 50? I think it's
they're about 50. They have a shipped number, but yeah, they're at about 50.
Yeah. And so, the attachment rate's not really that high there. And holy crap, Lotus Esprit just gave 50 channel memberships. 50.
What?
Holy crap, Lotus.
What?
Now
Hold on, I can't do the surprise face. I'll get clipped.
Yeah, don't. But,
Holy crap.
let me do it. There's a surprise face. Oh man, 50. Look at everybody's green. What the?
Bro, that's crazy.
Yeah, so they passed 10 million, but Hargeet said they passed 10 million. But yeah, the attachment rate's not really that high. And so they're seeing that I don't want to get into the whole third party thing again, but of course that's why they're trying to push games over to the PC, be a more aggressive mobile space, all that as well. It just keeps going, man. All these people becoming channel memberships. Holy crap. I'm blown away. Thank you.
That's really, 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 really generous.
Yeah, completely. That's insane. So I thought that was weird, Colt, about Insomniac. But even weirder about the situation. I know I keep looking at that going up and up and up, and I'm just
enjoy
wow.
it. Enjoy it. Take
Crazy.
a minute.
Crazy. Lotus, I don't know who you are, but I thank you. You're a great human being
amazing.
for that, man. That's really
They've
awesome.
been on my podcast and Red Wolf's podcast and just showing amazing support for people who are keeping it real and talking about what they enjoy in gaming. It's been really, really super nice.
That's amazing of you. Thank you. But yeah, so Toys for Bob, that's the one that I can't really understand what's going on there. So of course, Toys for Bob was under the Activision banner. They got acquired by Xbox. Toys for Bob then leaves and becomes independent. But in a strange situation, they're like, yeah, but we're going to be partnering with Microsoft on future things or possibly. And I'm like, what is going on there, Colt? What's going on with Toys for Bob? I can't make sense of it.
I don't know, but I have
Tell me.
I have an explanation I think might be true. Maybe Activision and Xbox needed to make more cuts. And Toys for Bob said, hey, we've kind of wanted to go independent for a while. This is just my opinion. We're getting tired of being in the Call of Duty machine. I made a joke in my last video. They're tired of being the Call of Duty. My last tweet was, I think. Anyway, they're tired of making the trees and garbage cans for Call of Duty games every year. I don't know what Toys for Bob does, but as a support, maybe they're just creating maps or making assets, and they're like, we can't do anything because we're so busy doing Call of Duty. And maybe instead of cutting some employees or maybe closing Toys for Bob, they offered them their independence, said, go ahead and go to independent. We won't have to cut employees. You guys can stay employed. Maybe that's what happens. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense because if you're telling them, okay, go ahead and go independent, you'll still get work from us. Like, couldn't they have just stayed then? Because you're going to be paying them anyway. Like that, it doesn't make sense to me. I've seen so many kind of discussions on this, and so many ways of people trying to put this and angle this. But at the end of the day, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't. It's like,
yeah. My only explanation is maybe that
somebody mentioned that they
kept them from being cut.
Yeah, somebody said that maybe they had some kind of contractual thing that they were beholden to do underneath Activision, and even if it was taken over by Microsoft, I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Because once Microsoft buys you, they can do what they want with these companies. They could literally just start letting people go or whatever. And they did. 1,900 employees. We know about that. But Toys for Bob, it's just a different situation where they just let them go. And I'll never understand this until it's explained to me by somebody that knows what happened. Honestly, I think that's what it's going to have to come down to, because I don't get it. But here's the other part of this story that I thought was kind of funny. So, of course, being on Twitter, you have the Yahoos out there, the Sony guys who are just lovely. They're like laughing, going, haha, all you dummies with the avatars of Crash Bandicoot, you're looking silly now. Haha, now they're gone. And I'm like, you do know that Microsoft owns the IP for Crash. You do know they still own Spyro. Toys for Bob doesn't own those IP. Toys for Bob just worked on those IP.
Yeah.
And then it's just funny how people don't understand these things and they just open up their mouth and just spew nonsense. And it's why I hate Twitter. I hate Twitter. I've got a love and a hate thing for Twitter. It's like, on one hand, I'll be honest, the only reason why I'm on Twitter is to sometimes try to network with people. That's it.
I'm only there to get news mostly now.
Yeah, and news and get news and try to get guests or whatever, I don't read.
They're not real
feeds,
people,
man.
Fonz.
They're
not real people.
They're real people, all right.
No,
They're
they're
real.
not. They're not real people.
They're real.
They're not. Real people don't act like that.
A
real person doesn't tag Phil Spencer and
that.
say, thank you for making Game Pass and Xbox the platform of people on welfare. A real person that is a real human being that it's in a meaningful relationship with someone that they love, or is able to reproduce and have kids, does not talk like that. Or a person that is able to be in a family or hold a steady job. No one talks like that. They're not real people. There was that guy who was making fun of that. There was this touching story that went up this weekend about someone who couldn't afford to get into gaming, and they bought a used Series S and got into Game Pass and were blown away by what modern gaming was offering because they were completely cut off from it.
Wow.
And somebody used that as a mock that Xbox is for people on welfare. Real people don't talk
ridiculous.
like that. They're not real people. The
No,
people
I get what
that
you're saying.
say things to me, reply to me, call me a different race or a different orientation. Those aren't real people. And I've been on Twitter for 7+ years, and I finally took everyone else's advice, put up a post, and immediately mute it because these people are not real. Like that lady on the airplane, that mother effer over there ain't real.
Yeah,
you ain't real. No, they're not real people.
What I meant by that,
humans.
I'm in agreement with you there. They're real people, but they put on this persona online and hide behind their keyboard.
No.
And they talk a lot of nonsense.
No, they're putrid piles of human DNA. That's all they are.
Ooh,
they're not real people.
I like it.
They really aren't, because you wouldn't talk. You wouldn't talk like that to someone. It's not real. And I don't think they're putting on a persona. I think that's the way they want to be, and that's who they are.
Yeah,
I mean, there was a guy who's told people not to watch my channel. That was a lying piece of crap. And I'm like, that's not a real person.
You know what? It's funny that you mentioned that, the whole lie thing with you, because not to get off on a tangent here, folks, but on Twitter, I remember a guy he commented, he replied to you on something and called you a liar. And I go, what do you lie about? Guess what I got? 0 response.
Because he's not a real person, Fonz.
Zero
and somebody wrote,
response.
like, Senile says bots. No, they're not bots. They're, like I said, they're undulating pieces of cellular membranes and human DNA. They're not real actual people. No one talks to other people like that in real life. They're not real.
Yeah. It's sad, the state of social media. And this is one of the reasons why I keep my kids off of social media. My young kids anyway, when they're, they get older, 17, 18, they can do what they want, to an extent, but they can get on social media and do that sort of thing. But my daughter, my 9-year-old, no, hell no. My 15-year-old, no, she doesn't get on social media because it's terrible. It's a toxic cesspool. Social media is honestly the bane of our existence.
It's a place to make someone feel better about their crappy life by making your life look worse than theirs.
Yeah. People, lots of young kids are committing suicide at a rate, just incredible rate because of social media. Social media, if you look at and this correlates, if you look at the suicidal rates back when social media started, these apps got popular like Facebook and stuff, it's gone up year after year.
Yeah, it's
these
pretty bad.
devices are great, but they're tools of the devil, man. They really people.
My friend left Facebook
misuse
because he
them.
said,
Yeah, go ahead.
my friend said he left Facebook because there would be news reports on his Facebook feed, such as, a mother and her 3 kids went into a lake in their car and they were not able to make it out, and they're survived by their husband, and there'll be 34 laughing crying emoji reactions to the news report. And he's like, I can't deal with it. I go, why are you even on that platform? Hargy says that's why I'm not on social media. They're not real people. And the people that DM me and say, I truly wish that you would die, that's not a real person. That's, like I said, just undulating piece of organic matter, stewing in their own, their own excrement.
And those are just, and what we're saying is it's just the facts when it comes down to, Twitter and all these spaces, social media and stuff. I said spaces. Speaking of Twitter spaces, now that is
spaces,
the worst. You never want to be in a Twitter space. Gosh.
I was in a space 2 days ago with Major Nelson. He wanted to talk about what was going on with gaming. And I said, are we going to be okay? Like, this is a major downfall and games are being delayed. People are being laid off. And he said, yeah, I think we're going to be okay. He said, we're going to recover and make adjustments, and games will just continue to make us happy. So he's consulting with studios and helping them work on games.
Consulting? So. What's he? With this white gloves and everything.
Yep.
Just
he's doing consulting for game development. And
is he a game developer? Like, I don't even know his background. I just know him as the glove guy.
Yeah, I mean, Major Nelson's got 20 plus years in the games industry. He's probably just consulting them on that part of gaming, like, marketing and focus and targeted marketing and stuff like that. I'm sure he's a smart guy, but those spaces are nice. Hey, and people are saying things about Tim. Tim Dog's a close friend of ours, and there's a lot of people who
I look. Tim's a great person, but I will say that Tim is. He's handling a lot of this stuff the wrong way, in my opinion. But who am I to say, tell him what to do or whatever? Like, there's certain things that I wouldn't personally do that he's doing, but he's got to have his reasons. I don't know, but I just don't think he's personally. Right.
I'll say personally, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Like the more you talk about the gaming news and get into this versus that and the consoles, like, the harder it is. And I've been there a lot. And there's a lot of ways that I feel about the changes that are going on in the industry and with Xbox that really bother me. But the moment that because I told people, I was transparent with people. I said, I did a lot of my griping on the phone with you and Gaz and Rand. Like, my reactionary stuff happened on the phone. Like, this, and then once I got on to make a video or on the podcast, I kind of aired and vented those grievances and the reactionary stuff.
There it is,
And then because, like, I can't tell you how many times I've complained to somebody like Rand, who, if you know Rand really well, like, he always steps back and goes, well, like, I'll complain about something. He goes, well, to be fair, it isn't really like that, right? So, like, if I complain to Rand, go, oh my gosh, they're doing this with Xbox, there's going to be no more exclusives. I don't really say things like that, but, like, they're going to take away a lot of the big exclusives, and how's that going to look? And then you get that off your chest, and then when you go to Twitter to post or make a video or go on a space or a podcast, you're like, okay, and I feel like Meg and I've done a great job of taking it pretty reasonable. Here's what could happen. Here's what should happen. Here's what would happen. And I think Tim's done a lot of that publicly. He's done all the grievances we've done behind the scenes. He did that on Spaces, or he just does it on posts.
I agree with Senile Sticks to an extent. Tim's pissed. It's his right. Yeah, of course it's his right to be upset and air his grievances. I'm just saying I personally wouldn't go that route the way he's gone. And I would have no problem talking to Tim like this, because I'm not trying to talk down. I'm not trying to talk down to him or anything. I don't think he's gone about it the right way. And this is one of the reasons why I always talk about people and their extreme loyalties to these corporations, because you get situations like this when something happens that you don't foresee happening. And you have this affinity towards this company and these corporations and this, it's not a good thing. Like you should not be this loyal, because it can get you like that. And unfortunately it's gotten Tim really hard. Like he's really pissed and I would say hurt over the situation. Because
but if you want to be heard
and been loyal to Xbox for how many years, and he's been, fighting this console war, which I don't agree with either, but.
And I know people don't
thing.
like the way that Tim's reacted, and I know Tim really well, but you also have to, you're forgetting the other side of the equation, that Tim is airing his grievances like anybody should be able to. Like you can absolutely say on a public post, I'm really upset that Xbox is putting their games on a competing platform instead of just holding their ground. Like that's totally legit. But the other half of the equation that we're not addressing here is all those other people on the other side of the firing line that are calling him, making physical attacks or attacking his looks, attacking his intelligence, attacking his personality, attacking his integrity, insulting him. Like that's part of the equation. Like there's been times this past, you know darn well, Fonz, there's been a few times this past month where I just told somebody to shut the F up. Because after a while, like you can't just be nice. Like after a while, it piles on and it piles on, It's been piling on Tim for 10 years where he smiled and said, you just wait, we're going to get ABK. ABK is going to become Xbox. And Bethesda's being signed on, and these Bethesda games are going to come to Xbox, and Doom's going to be exclusive. And he said all these things. We've said a lot of these things. Yeah. And now we don't know if those things are going to be true. And I don't want to get into third-party exclusive discussion, but remember when you get upset, when you see people fighting back and forth, that they're getting it on the other side from people who don't know how to act like a regular human being. They're just puddles of excrement. Yeah. And you have to deal with them.
True, but he's also getting it from the side that he has been on.
He's getting it from
years.
Xbox guys too.
He's getting it from both. Yeah. So in his defense, he's just feeling overwhelmed by people attacking him as well. But at the end of the day, again, it's just
hey, I snapped last night, Fonz.
I know, but but it had nothing to do with Xbox or whatever, And
I think it had to do with the culmination of things. But eventually, people hit their breaking point. And they shove something across the table and say, F this.
Oh man.
So, I mean,
Colt threw his Mountain Dew at Taco Bell. It was a sight.
I said, that guy's not real. And I threw my Mountain Dew. No.
Yeah. But yeah, stuff happens to us.
Instead of DMing me, or instead of asking Fonz or asking the chat, like send a message to somebody you see that's like really upset about this, or maybe acting out or being overreactive, and say, hey man, I appreciate all that you've done. Like you brought the news, you've gotten excited about Xbox the same days that I've gotten excited, and I hope you're doing okay. Don't say, hey man, this isn't the right way to go about it, because some people don't like to be told what to do. Hey, I don't like to be told what to do either. Love you, chat.
Yeah, that's why I prefaced it by saying, look, I don't think he's going about it the right way, but I wouldn't tell him what to do. Like, that's not my place.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
It's just not. I do what you will, but I'll do my thing.
We have some close friends who've completely withdrawn from the discussion over the past month. They're not even involved. They're not making videos. They're getting in the discussion. They're not in the forums. They're not having the arguments. They've completely said, you know what? I'm not even touching this with a 10-foot pole.
You know what? That reminds me. Now's the time of the show where I just call a random person.
Questions.
No, I just call a random person.
Within the community. Let's do it.
And we try to get his take on something.
Let's do it. Hey, I like this.
Let's see if this works.
Do you have it connected through your PC?
I don't know if it's working.
I don't hear anything yet. You can always use speakerphone, do it the low cache way like I did.
Let's see if it works.
There's a couple people we can't cold call because we don't know how they'll answer the phone. Oh gosh.
Oh, that was awful.
It was cutting out.
Yeah, it was. What the hell? Anyways, let me see. I'm gonna try his butt again. The hell kind of rings that? Where am I calling? Germany? Oh man. Just like him not to answer. Anyways, yeah, somebody said call Plume. Rachy. No, I don't have his
Call
number.
Jeff Keighley.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me call Jeff Keighley. Yeah. Let me get him on the phone. Let me get Phil Spencer on the phone. We can just yell at him for 5 minutes.
Feels like if you're an Xbox customer, I want you to know that everything we've said is going to be ambiguous. Good luck to you.
Yeah.
Somebody just tweeted at me that's probably watching the show. Bleeds So 9mm said, "Hey Cole, I hope you have a wonderful day. You do a great job, and I'm a real person, I think." So I'm gonna say laugh out loud. Thanks as I read that on the air. That's awesome. Thank you for watching the show.
Why does it ring like that? Somebody
I don't know.
else.
Just put it on speaker
It's
on in front of your
somebody else.
mic.
Oh man.
What the world?
Yo.
Yeah, it does
can you
sound
hear
like
me?
Pink Floyd.
I can barely hear you.
There we
All
go.
This is the Lord Cognito.
That is me. What's going on?
Hey, this is the part of my show where I just call a random person in the community and say hi.
Tell him you're not kidding,
All right,
so he
we
knows.
live?
Colt Eastwood is live as well. He's on the show.
Oh, salute Colt. Salute everybody in Gamers Talk Live. I'm eating food. Y'all got to excuse me if I'm rude. I just want to make sure my brother was good and the community's good. Get a call from Fonz. I had to pick it up.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate it. We just wanted your opinion on whether or not you think Bigfoot is real.
Oh gosh.
The answer is no, I do not. I'm not really a conspiracy theorist like that.
Oh, I love
But,
conspiracy theories.
I know that's King. You have to call King David for that.
Okay, I'll get him on the phone next. Yeah.
Exactly. But that's where I stand with it.
All right. Well, I appreciate you picking up there, but you go back to your
Always.
food, man. Yeah, always
Yeah.
love, brother. I'll talk to you later.
Always love Fonz. Coach, salute. Games Talk Live, salute.
All right,
No
later.
doubt. Peace.
All right. So
Oh,
we
he's
got
the
somebody.
best.
Cog
He is
is
the
awesome.
best.
And
Yeah.
we got another 20 channel members by Lotus.
I'm in now.
What?
I'm in, bro. I got channel membership now.
Dude.
Look what I
thank
can
you.
do.
I appreciate you so much. That's amazing, dude. Like, what is going on? Like, I don't get it. Like, everybody's green. Like, that's insane. Oh,
That's awesome.
you know what it was? He heard Cognito's voice and he goes, I got to give him another 20. Got to give him another 20 memberships. Cognito's great.
Yeah, he is.
Love talking to Cog. But yeah, so King's the conspiracy theorist in that group, apparently. I have to talk to him sometime. I believe in Bigfoot, Colt. Do you?
No, I don't. We would have found him by now if Bigfoot was real.
Him? It's
Yeah,
just
him.
one? No, it's many. Do you
Nah,
call
I don't
what is
think
plural
so.
for Bigfoot? Big feet?
Big feet. I
Big
I
feet.
live in Washington. Like I'm surrounded by
You're surrounded
the
by
locations
Bigfoot.
where
Or
and
Sasquatch.
still nothing. Still nothing.
Man.
But Harry and the Hendersons is a real movie.
What about them
And I believe in
UFOs,
that.
man? Hey, the UFOs.
I don't believe in them either. I've got a solid
UFOs are true. UFOs are
Nope,
real. We don't know if they're alien.
I have a
but they are
solid
real.
reason why. I have a
I know-
solid
I
reason
know.
why there's no way. There's no
There
way.
is. There is.
The distance to the nearest star system that could have a living entity that could come visit us, they would never be able to live long enough to make the trip to Earth, to our solar system. So it's not happening. It's not possible.
Who's to say they're
not
leaving
possible.
this Earth?
And
Who's-
I don't.
Who's
and
to
I
say
don't
they're
think
going
that-
to another
I don't-
star system? What about dimensional beings. What about
Now-
UFOs that are built here by people? Because
Now that could be
did you
real.
see-
Now, if you believe in a fourth dimensional or fifth dimensional entity that can drop into our third dimensional space without traveling, yeah, and mathematically that is true. But I don't think anything could travel for millions of light year speed and make the trip here unless they had big generational ships where they just generation after generation after generation of life forms. Because there's a limit to how long life forms can live. What is it, a couple hundred years at the most? So I don't think it's possible. I don't know what they're seeing out there.
I think you're not thinking about the highly advanced form of
What's highly advanced? Like how do you figure out how to get into the fifth dimension? How to come into the fifth dimension and move into a third dimension? What technology?
I can't explain that. I don't think any of us could. We're not that high a life form as they are apparently. Rambo said Unsolved Mysteries was a cool show. Yeah. I loved Unsolved
With Robert
Mysteries.
Stack.
Robert Stack. He was spooky as hell, man. I remember as a kid.
That was like my bedtime show, man. I go to bed like, oh. Yeah,
got your mind open, Fonz. Yeah, see, this is Gamers Talk Conspiracy right here.
ACL Gaming says,
Live.
Colt, there's technology that could travel and bend space and time. No, there
Teleportation.
isn't.
I wish teleportation was real.
If you could take space fabric and bend it straight down and come right back up, you'd go whoop, and then you'd pass. But how are you going to fold space? You'd need a massive gravity well to actually drop it down to bridge a gap. And you're talking billions or millions of light years you'd have to fold.
Millions
or wormholes.
or billions, he said.
Yeah, we'll see.
Personally,
I lie awake and watch videos like this. I'm trying to figure it out. I'll get back to you when I have the answer.
Okay.
This is Colt Eastwood, Space Files.
What was that called? That was some
That's the Metal Gear
vibe,
Solid.
right? Yeah.
That's the Metal Gear Solid sound when you look and the toilet paper rolls empty.
Oh boy.
Do it.
Boy. Yes, Bledsoe. UFOs are 100% real. UFOs are real. And I can't talk about that.
They are real. I just don't think they're from another star system.
But I've seen them myself. Yeah, exactly. I don't know where they're from. It could be from here. It could be from, under the ocean for all we know. We have what they call USOs as well. Anyways,
am we saltier on other podcasts?
Are we what?
Am I? I feel like I'm overextending today than what I normally would say. I don't know. I don't know how.
You know what
that.
it is? It's just, it's conversations that people like to have that not many people do have.
We have these in party chats. Like this is what we do.
Yeah, I know. And you guys make fun of me because I'm the conspiracy guy. Because I don't even believe we landed on the moon. I don't.
Yeah,
I've argued with people on this, and it's like, did you look at that ship they landed on the moon or supposedly landed with? Yeah,
how big is the moon? It's like an eighth the size of Earth, and they left that. I forgot what they called the ship that orbited around the moon, and then when they were ready, they're like, okay, let's take off and go find it up there and intercept it and land back on it in space. Sure, I guess.
I see that. I see that.
Hey, put up a poll in the chat. Did we land on the moon in 1972 or whatever it was?
Seen them myself. He's laughing at me because I said I seen some UFOs myself. I have seen UFOs myself. I have. Straight up have. Okay. I don't know what they are, but I've seen them move in the sky, way up in space as well. Do right angle turns and take off. I've seen it.
I've seen it. Hey, put up a poll in the chat and ask him if we landed on the moon in 72 or what. I think it was 72 or 69. What year was it?
I think 69? It was 68, wasn't it? Or 68? It doesn't matter. Man, I can't believe this.
This is important science right here.
This is important.
Because only recently, in the past year or two, have I heard people say, I don't think we landed on the moon. And like Joe Rogan said, I used to think we didn't. He goes, now I'm leaning more toward we did, but I don't know how we did it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
one thing that can't be explained to me is how they had the technology to do it then, but they don't now.
No,
They're
they
trying to
haven't
get through
really
the-
said that.
They're trying to get through the Van Allen belts, which is the radiation above.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in a gold foil capsule.
Yeah, that thing couldn't freaking hold my pot pie. Yeah, let
Well,
alone go through.
You know,
the
they
Van
said
Allen
that
belts.
the Van Allen
And then think
radiation
about
belt.
it, bro. It's not just that; it's also the cameras that were already affixed to the moon that watched them take their first step. Neil Armstrong take the first step down, and then it was the camera that pans up and watches them take off the moon. It's just weird. It makes
Also,
no sense.
I also wondered, like, does film actually get developed or get exposed inside? Like, you're inside it, and I mean, that's could be an easy thing to look at, but like, how do they know a film camera would run and expose each frame in zero oxygen on the moon with no atmosphere or anything? I don't know. I mean, I guess that worked, but what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Anyway, I don't know.
And then they somehow had the
And there
rover
was weird
that they
ways
rode
they
around on the
moved
moon.
where it looked like they're on cables.
So-
People are critiquing that.
So they had the oh gosh, the freaking the rover that was attached to the lunar lander. Underneath
Yeah.
it, apparently, it's like I don't see any of that getting through the Van Allen belts and going to the moon. I just don't see it.
They said I watched something on that. They said the Van Allen belts at the speed they're going at 150,000 miles an hour, the radiation is like as much as you'd get from an X-ray. It's not even that bad. They just pass through it so quickly it burns through them, and then they're fine. It's not that big of a deal, and they go through it pretty quickly. So
yeah, it is a very big deal. It would melt their cameras, by the way, which were supposedly
that's
on
not
board.
what I heard lately. It was that the radiation is like it's like getting an X-ray at the dentist during the period that they're going through the radiation belt. It's not a big deal.
Oh, check this out. Check this out. There's this hunk of junk right there.
What, you put
my
some on screen?
God, yes. How do you zoom into that? On PC. How do you zoom in? You zoom in?
If you're on a browser, you do Control +sign.
Oh, control. That's right.
Yeah.
Let me
This
do
tech tip brought to you by Colt Eastwood. Look at that hunk of junk. Look at that thing.
Why is this not?
This thing's made of PVC and some gold foil from Party Palace.
Why?
No, I think we landed there, but it's just some stuff just
Look
looks
at that.
sketchy.
Look at that.
Is that Matt Damon? Roll back down one panel.
That doesn't look
sorry.
right.
Yeah, don't do that.
I'm not subscribing to nothing. What are you doing? But anyways, oh my God, looks like it was just taped together with some duct tape and some foil and.
But
I'm
look at
sorry.
the dude getting down there on the lunar surface, like your character at the very beginning of Starfield. With that puffy suit.
You had to bring up
Marshmallow Man.
Starfield. You had to bring up Starfield.
Starfield.
Yeah, Starfield. Yeah.
Yeah,
anyways.
I've been ornery lately. It's been a lot. This past month's been like a roller coaster of crap, and life's pretty chill, but like the barrage of nonsense.
We
has
just
been-
lost a
been
lot
kind
of listeners when I started talking about that stuff. I apologize, people. I know this is a gaming show. Just
What?
we
We're
were
doing
done
great
talking
here.
about the games, but you know, I like conspiracy. I like
They were
that
all
stuff.
talking about it, bro.
I would love. Honestly, I would love to do a podcast on conspiracies, and just do a different topic weekly on the conspiracy stuff. It'd be fun. It'd be really fun.
Yeah, it would be fun.
I like that stuff. Can't do that.
Can't do that.
But anyways, I want to thank everybody for coming out today. And of course, Colt, thank you for coming. Let everybody know where they can find you and what you're doing next. Like, what's your next video?
Next video is going to be about Assassin's Creed, so it'll be out probably tomorrow. Same day as my podcast. Mag and I will talk about some of this news. It's gonna be weird. It's just been weird lately,
It's just been
and
so weird.
navigating like the negative news and showing your support for devs that are losing their jobs. Like, geez,
Yeah.
but we'll have some fun stuff to talk about. There's some positive stuff, so that's where I'll be. And
Nice.
yeah.
See, For the Win
good.
said he likes talking conspiracy theories. He's here for it. He's here
Good.
for it. Yeah, see, a lot of people do. You'd be surprised. A lot of people just don't talk about it. I do. And if you get me in a party chat, yeah, I'll talk to you about stuff like this. And I'll even tell you some other stuff that I can't really say on the air because it could affect certain people. But I know things.
Ooh.
I know some things about conspiracy theories. Anyways, with that said, I want to thank everybody for coming out today, and especially all of you beautiful supporters out there. Honestly, my channel members, you've grown exponentially tonight. So
Yeah, you
all
got
thanks
70
to
of them, bro.
Lotus, Esprit, they, them. Thank you very much. I appreciate that so much. Honestly, that just blew me away. And then the $2, the two $50 super chats, amazing. Thank you, appreciate you. And with that said, Colt Eastwood says he's not real in chat. With that said, I want to thank everybody that's listening after the fact, on all the podcast streaming apps out there of your choice. We are on video now on, what is it? Spotify. I just upload the video there now.
I've been doing that too.
Yeah.
It takes
It's
a
just-
while. It takes longer, but
Yeah, it's just easier, to do. And also some people who might want to watch it over there, they have that choice. Anyways, with that said, game on, everybody.